Peace, 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 love, light of healing, peace, love, light of healing, peace to the gods, peace to the earth. Shalom, shalom, nacha, mishpacha. Shalom, family. Y'all climb on in. Let me know where y'all at. Let me know where y'all pulling up at. We got a lot of stuff to go over today. Today I want to talk about the paradigm shift. I want to talk about the parasite paradigm and basically rethinking what we call disease. So y'all climb on in. We gonna get to it. Shalom, shalom, mishpacha. Chag Samet Sukkot. Happy feast, family. Y'all climb in. Yeah, we finna talk about them nasty, gruesome parasites today and how they manifest in your body and how your body take on symptomologies of what you will call multiple sclerosis. It will take on symptomologies of what you will call lupus. It'll take on symptomologies of what you would even call hypertension or call high blood pressure. And again, diabetes, hyperglycemia, and hypoglycemia. So, you know, doing this for 15 years, having clinics, doing clinical trials, having my own healing homes, traveling the world, and doing 150,000 detoxification series on different types of people, whether it be clinically, whether it be from my clinic, whether it be online, whether it be through lecture, whether it be through teaching through Zoom, 150,000 people, and then getting all of those pictures and seeing the results. Every single disease known to man, and I hate the word saying disease, but since y'all identify with it, I'm going to say it. But there's not one disease that I know of that exists that's not associated or connected with a parasite. And what I mean by parasite, I'm talking about a living, multi-dimensional entity that can pleomorphosize itself, meaning it can change and shapeshift its shape and size depending on the condition of your terrain or your body. And when it poops, it creates something called auto intoxication. And the toxins that these things leave over give you all types of symptomatic drivers that give you symptoms. And then you go to the doctor, and instead of them checking you for parasites or a parasitic infection, they literally just give you a label and call it disease. And that's what I want to talk about today, because there is no disease that you can truly name or that they have titled as a disease that is not parasite driven. Now, am I saying that these parasites are causing disease? I think that the terrain happened from a acidic side first. First, you come into contact with processed foods, or you come in contact with environmental pollutants. You eating things that you're not supposed to be eating. You smoking, you drinking, you bringing some type of toxins in, and then you're not getting rid of the toxins by detoxifying. So since you don't detoxify, the body starts to corrode and go through a state of what you will call oxidation, where your cells begin to rust. And through this rusting process, if you're not bringing in any electrons or bringing in any alkalining agents to help alkaline the body, to bring the body in a balance of homeostasis, what happens is you start depriving the cells of oxygen. And when you deprive the cells of oxygen, you start making homes and start making a bedding for things to live inside of you. So I tell people all the time, you can't miss the parasites. They're going to come. They come through water. They come through spring water. They come through fresh water. They come through river water. They come through ocean water. They come through your soil. A lot of us like the ground. So you can get hookworms and roundworms and pinworms just by walking and grounding. They can be in the concrete. They come through skin to skin contact. Like, for instance, what you will call herpes dermatitis, which is a form of herpes, but is actually a fluke worm. And this fluke worm is called a hemith worm. So when we finna dive deep into these worms, I'm finna show y'all how to do flashcards and everything. That way y'all can start learning these worms. You can get them from eating, especially eating certain types of meat. Like, for instance, trichonellia. Trichonellia is an actual worm. Trichonellia is a worm, a roundworm parasitic that come from eating pork, come from eating chicken, come from eating cows, come from eating even sheep, or what you would call lamb. So you gonna get parasites. The thing is, when it comes to what you will call the Western Hemisphere, or when it comes to America, we don't get on a yearly or what you will call a quarterly parasitic cleanse. So we let these parasites build up in us. Then they start infesting us, and it goes through something called larva migration, where they start producing all of this larva, and they go through their sex cycles and start producing eggs, and then these eggs get into the system. The system then start getting in hiding. They start messing up the signaling. Because I told y'all last time that most of the signals that come from the eggs are estrogen and progesterone and testosterone like. Just like you have sexual chemistry and sexual hormones, these parasites that's inside of you have the same things. Since they have the same things, these things drive up your hormone markers and they start making your glandular highway, what I'm going to call the endocrine system, out of whack. This drives and proliferate tissues. This causes all types of tumor genesis, where tumors begin to form. It also causes cyst genesis, where you start seeing cysts pop up everywhere. And we're going to start reading through the paperwork. And once we get through this paperwork, you're going to see, and I'm going to put it on the screen, most of the cysts that's inside of your uterine wall, most of the cysts that's inside of your fallopian tubes, most of the cysts that's on the endometrium lining of your cervix, women, most of the cysts that's on the prostate when your prostate becomes swollen, most of the cysts that's in these different areas are actually parasite nest. So if we just get on a cleanse and we get on these three herbs that everybody's talking about, I'm going to show y'all what these herbs do. And we do this quarterly, every 3 months, you will notice that you will basically be what I would call disease free. So if y'all ready to get this started, y'all type in some nines. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know where y'all at. If you on my Facebook, let me know wherever you at. Let me know where you at. Facebook business page, Instagram, YouTube, and then we're gonna get this started. Make sure you got a pen and a pad, family. You look great, beloved. Thank you, thank you. I've been doing a lot of inner work. A lot of inner work, not eating any processed foods whatsoever. If it's processed, if it got more than one ingredient, I do not put it in my mouth. I've been fasting a lot. We live a fasted lifestyle. I fast at least 18 to 20 hours a day. I only truly eat once a day, or eat in a specific certain amount of window a day. I don't eat any seed oils whatsoever. If it's an oil that come from a seed, even grape seed, I will not put it in my mouth. I don't eat no fried food whatsoever. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs whatsoever. You know, I get up, I do cardio, I work out every now and then now. So, and I've been getting a lot of rest. So I've been doing a lot of things. I've been prioritizing my health, and I'm trying to teach y'all how to do the same thing. All right, Nabi, you see me? I'm on every platform.
Yeah, well, it said live on Facebook, and I see you on. I see you Yahki Raphael Elohim, and I see you on Instagram.
Okay, cool, cool. And then I see me on YouTube. All right, so y'all got y'all pens and y'all pads. So I want y'all to write this title down. The title is called The Parasite Paradigm: Rethinking What We Call Disease. And the whole basis of what we going through is showing y'all how these manifestation of disease, like for instance, right here, I got lupus. Got lupus right here. We're going to talk about what drives lupus. I got multiple sclerosis. We're going to talk about what drive multiple sclerosis, but I want to talk about the things that the so-called black community or the world is dealing with in general first, and that'd be high blood pressure. So I want to take it from hypertension, high blood pressure, then talk about diabetes mellitus, hyperglycemia, which is what we dealing with, which is another parasitic hemith fluke worm, and it's actually, yes, it's called urotrema pancreaticum. Urotrema pancreaticum, and it's a fluke worm that lodges itself inside of the pancreas, and what it does is it causes these inflammatory responses, and it chews on what you would call the tissues in the islands of Langerhans that makes the alpha cells and makes the beta cells. We know that the alpha cells produce glycogen hormone, and we know that the beta cells produce the insulin hormone, which help you utilize and bring sugar inside the cell. So once we go through this, y'all, it is mind blowing, and everything I'm talking about, you can look it up with scholarly peer review articles that's backing everything I'm saying. I'm not speaking out the side of my neck. These are things that the world have been talking about for eons. They just haven't been talking about it here, and I've been talking about it for the longest. So the first one I want to start off with is trichinella. All right, so trichinella, I'm gonna put it on the screen, and I want y'all to write down the name. That way we don't have a long time spelling this stuff, and then we'll go in. So let me open up this folder real quick, and I'm gonna show y'all how to get rid of all of this stuff. We ain't gonna leave no stone unturned, family. All right, so this is what you will call the life cycle of trichinella. Now, trichinella, again, you can get trichinella from your beef, you can get it from your pork. A lot of it come from pork eating. I don't care if you cook it regular or not, Because a lot of people say, well, if you cook it the right way, no, it don't matter. You can get this stuff from beef, you can get it from pork, you can get it from chicken, you can get it from lamb, whether you heat it up to high heats or not. Trichinella is known to adapt to acidic environments. Trichinella is known to even grow another thicker layer of skin. That way it can actually survive in high heat levels. These things are just like bacteria. The more and more you give yourself antibiotics, you will notice that the bacteria and amoeba forms, they end up adapting to what you're giving them, and then they get worse down the line. The same thing that is happening to these parasitics become because they come with a certain form of intelligence. And since they come with a certain form of intelligence, the more you try to kill them, they go through stages of evolution where their bodies will adapt and they can live longer, for they can expand consciousness too. And always look at a parasite as a entity that needs you as a host to experience reality. All right. So we got to talk about this stuff because this stuff is real deep. So when you look at trichinellas, you get trichinellas from eating certain foods. Trichinella mainly come from eating a bunch of meat, y'all. That's where it come from. It come from me eating. Now, am I sitting here saying that all parasites come from me eating? No, most of them come from your fruits and your vegetables, which we'll talk about. But I want to start talking about what we are called trichinella, because we got to talk about this damn roundworm and how this roundworm actually causes high blood pressure. Now, when you eat pork or when you eat beef or when you eat all of these meats, what happened is these meats have a cyst on it. When you look at a cyst is nothing but an encapsulated parasite larva egg. Well, the cyst is full of these fibrin tissues. These fibrin tissues are made of coating protein coat, so it's very hard to actually break down. So even if you get the meat and they have these cysts on them, and you say, well, I'm just going to wash them real good, which you can't really wash them off because they're embedded in the tissues of the flesh. And then you say, well, I'm going to fry it or cook it to high heat. It is hard for the heat to actually penetrate the cysts to get to the larva eggs of trichinella because of this hard fiber and mesh around it. So you end up eating it. Once you eat it in your hydrochloric acid in your stomach break it down, then it is released. It's get released into something called the pyloric sphincter and the duodenum. Once it get released inside the pyloric sphincter and the duodenum, it get picked up. The whole thing for it to do is called pheresis. Pheresis is when they use food as a transportation to get to you because they need to feed off of your blood and they need to feed off your liver. So once it gets into the bloodstream, it migrates its way to the liver. It's called larva migration. Once it gets to the actual liver, the larva matures inside the small intestine first, and then it makes its way into the liver, inside the small intestines, and then it makes its way into the liver. So once it gets to the liver, it literally starts releasing all of its eggs inside the liver, which causes a inflammatory response. So once the inflammatory response happen, what happens is the liver uses glutathione and flush it back into the bloodstream. So when it flush, and we're gonna show you the migration pattern, it's crazy. Once it get flushed back into the bloodstream, it raises what you would call your calcium markers. So since it raises your calcium markers, again, like I told y'all in many videos, because the reason why calcium is always produced by calcitonin, which is coming from the thyroid and the parathyroid, is because calcium is known as a buffering alkalining agent. Whenever you see acids, you're going to see calcitonin be released by the parathyroid. The parathyroid will release phosphorus and calcium from the bone calcium matrix. Calcium then comes into the bloodstream, and since it's an electron donor, it fuses with anything that's acidic, and then it literally becomes a donor and let the acidic proteins or the acidic medium accept the electron for it can neutralize itself, because that's what protons do. Protons are basically off balance and they missing the electron, so they need to be balanced out. And since they need to be balanced out, it won't be inside the cell going crazy, causing rapid damage or what you would call ROS, reactive oxidative species, and burning and rusting out the cells. So it need to borrow a negative charge for it can balance itself out, for it won't be so hostile when it's in the tissues. So what help it do that is actually calcium. Calcium comes from the actual calcitonin hormone that's released by the parathyroid. The parathyroid will holler at the bone. The bone will start leaking all of this calcium into the bloodstream. Calcium calcium then goes into the bloodstream and it's automatically going to magnetize itself to anything that's acidic or that's a proton. And what it does is it neutralizes and it buffer out the acids. Well, what I keep trying to teach y'all is when you have calcium, which is a electron donor, meet up with a proton, which is the electron stiller, and they come and bind themselves together in biochemistry, it solidifies. Not only do it solidifies, but it irritates what you will call the mucosal membrane. So since it's irritating the mucosal membrane, you have calcium, you have acids, and then you have mucus covering it up. This creates these crystals. So these crystals bring on an inflammatory response. Since the crystals bring on the inflammatory response, this release something by the kidneys and adrenals called acetylcholinesterase. I know I'm making all these big words, y'all. Forgive me. So what acetylcholinesterase does is it gets released by the adrenals and the kidneys, and it makes you move your lymphatic system. And now these things are in the lymphatic system, and they make their way to the kidneys. So now you have this cyst that's been trying to get killed, but it can't get killed or it can't be engulfed because it's in this fibrous mesh. Inside this fibrous mesh is all of these eggs, or what you would call larvae. So now, about time it finally make it to the kidneys, it opens up. So now, when they open up, guess what happens? They start chewing on all the tissues inside the kidneys, right? They start chewing on the nephrons inside of the kidneys. They spitting up all of this acid, and this acid starts breaking down the filtration tissues in the kidneys. So now, since it's breaking down, it becomes inflamed again. So now the nephrons inside of the kidneys are inflamed. This is called nephritis. So since nephritis have taken place in the kidneys, this is automatically going to raise your what? Your diastolic pressure. Because remember, when you look at blood pressure, the top part is called what? Systolic. That's supposed to be 120. The over 80, the 80 part is called diastolic. 120 over 80, systolic, diastolic. The top part is always the adrenals. The bottom part is always the kidneys. Well, if you got something in the kidneys and it's messing with the potassium and salt and water ratio, and it's not getting out all of the actual urine because you are blocking flow, because everything is inflamed, because you have these foreign larvae encapsulated cystic eggs inside of there, this raises your blood pressure. So that just shows you one reason why they say eating pork raises your blood pressure, because pork come with these high parasites and larvae in it that then make its way through the body and stop your kidney function. And if you think I'm lying, you can look this stuff up, and let's just start throwing stuff here on the screen. Now look, I know I just said a whole lot of big words. If y'all understood everything I just said, type in some nines and we're gonna keep going real quick. It's kind of hard to explain parasites without saying big words. It really is. So if y'all get what I'm saying so far, type in some nines and we're gonna keep it going. I don't want to lose y'all. Okay, they said they get it. Now check this out, y'all. So when you look at Trichinella, look how it just sit. And notice why they call it a round worm, because it's round. And this is inside of actual tissues. Now, and what's around it is a fibrin mesh. Y'all see that thick piece of fibrin layer of meat around it? That's actually a fibrin mesh, and it's making a cyst inside of meat. So you eat these little microscopic things, it causes all these inflammatory responses in the body. It migrates to the liver spits it back out through due to glutathione peroxidase, which is one of your your major powerful detoxification molecules. It's called glutathione peroxidase. When I'm talking about a major detoxifier, men I be probably get IV therapy twice a week, and that's the main thing. We always do 1,200 milligrams of liquid glutathione peroxidase. You know what I'm saying? That way we can constantly keep detoxifying our liver. Well, this molecule pushed this back into the bloodstream to get it into circulation of the lymphatic system to take it to the actual kidneys. But you can either urinate these things out or break it down and put it back into the system where you can poop them out. But this is not happening because by the time it gets to that point, they have hatched. Since they have hatched, their food changes now. So now they want to eat on tissues. They want to go through parasitic lysosome where they spit up all these lysosome acid bacteria for they can break down the tissue cells, and then they can start ciphering and sucking off all your minerals. So by the time calcium and all of that get to the kidneys and the nephrons become super inflamed, and it literally drives up hypertension, and that's what it looks like right there. Let me show y'all what this stuff look like when it's in the skin. And these are just showing y'all different types of atopic dermatitis that's literally associated with trichinella. You see that? Look at this stuff, y'all. Look at scabies. Look at that parasite right there. Scabies, which is another skin parasitic. Look at the drug rash with eosinophilia. And eosinophilia is when your eosinophils, which is your white blood count, go high. And the reason why it's going high is because the so-called innate immune system is reacting to these actual parasites. So a lot of people wondering why y'all got skin rashes. These skin rashes are signs of parasites, y'all. That's why anybody that says they have eczema, I know you have the hemorrhoid. That's herpes. You have a parasite. It's a skin parasitic. Let me show y'all some more before we keep going. All right. So the next one, which I want to talk about, is schistostoma. Now we have to talk about schistostoma. Now, I do want to say this: when you talk about systemic eosinophilia, when your white blood cells are real high, especially your eosinophils, usually you have trichinella or you have schistostoma. And the way you can find out, you don't have to literally go and see if can I get my X-ray on my body? Can I see if I got these parasites deep within me? No, just get you some blood work. And on your blood work, it's called a full comprehensive metabolic panel. Get a what you would call a full CBC, a complete blood chart, complete blood count. And I want you to actually look at the lymphatics. You're going to look at your eosinophils. You're going to look at your lymphocytes. Let me see if I can pull one up real quick and just put it on the screen. That'd be better, wouldn't it not be?
Yep.
Blood work. Blood work examples. Boom, we're going right here. Do they show? Okay, boom. All right, I got one for y'all. Let me share my screen with y'all real quick. All right. Let me get off of that. All right, so here goes some blood work right here, y'all. Let me blow it up. All right, can y'all see that? If y'all can see that, type in some nines. All right, so we see the red blood count. So we see that the hemoglobin is 12. All right, so according to this state, the hemoglobin is at a 12, which means it's normal. Then we see that the red blood count is low, is at a 3.3. I want you to scroll down to what you would call WBC. That's the white blood count. When the white blood count is high, that means that the body is under attack. When a white blood count is low, that means that the body is under attack and is actually losing. Then you go to the lymphocytes. The lymphocytes is LYM. You see the percentage is at 30, which is in its normal range. But if it's below 20, then that means it's getting attacked. And if it's too high, then that means you're suffering from some type of infection. All right. Then you have the monocytes. The monocytes are these big white blood cells. Monocytes are humongous, especially when we do our blood analysis. But what I want to focus on is the EOS. EOS stands for eosinophils. Whenever the eosinophils are very, very low at 0, depleted, that means that your body is riddled. When I say riddled with parasites. If it's high, that means you have a parasitic infection, but your body is producing a bunch of eosinophils to try to engulf them and basically degrade them and degrade them down to bring them to the lymphatic system, to get them to the lymph nodes, to degrade them down more, to get them to the kidneys where you can urinate them out. That's the microscopic parasites. But if you got the big ones like the tapeworms and the roundworms and the fluke worms and things like that, what they do is they start attaching these antigen markers in them and it paralyzes the parasites and you poop them out. And that's when your eosinophils is high. Now, when you look at the basophils, the basophils is the BAS. When the BAS is high, that means that you have a parasite, which I'm gonna call a parasite, which basically you having a bunch of allergic reactions to the auto intoxication that's coming from the parasites. So when your basal feels high, you have an allergic reactions from the auto intoxication that's coming from the actual parasites. Next thing is we talking about blood platelets. We don't even need to talk about none of that. So the main things that you're gonna be concerned with is your eosinophils. Not only your eosinophils, but your basophils. Not only your basophil, but your white blood count. Now, white blood count, eosinophils, basophils, your lymphocytes, and your phagocytes. That's what you need to pay attention to. If they low, that means they depleted. You done lost the fight. We have to rebuild your immune system. But if they high, that means you have a parasitic infection and you need to do something about it, which is do a parasite detoxification. And you can do that through 3 herbs, y'all. Let me give y'all the herbs right now. The whole world already know it's the same thing that's actually made with the ivermectin, the fenbendazole, and all of that. It's green walnut hull. Green walnut hull, not the black one. Green walnut hull. Wormwood, wormwood leaf. Make sure that you get it when it got a lot of chlorophyll in there, when it's very, very green. All right, green walnut hull, wormwood, and the last one is fresh cloves. These three pack a major punch, but you can start drawing them out too by mixing cinnamon. Put cinnamon in there to actually draw them out, because cinnamon will bring them from the tissues, because they like to lodge themselves in the tissues and they like to hide. A lot of them like to hide in the bladder. A lot of them like to hide in the urethra. A lot of them like to hide in the utera. So when you start seeing all these reproductive cancers, or you start seeing all these reproductive compromising diseases, they automatically go out there to symptomology, but they never think parasite because they're not reading your blood work. If they read your blood work properly, and if they put you on a parasitic cleanse and tell you to watch the toilet, then most of the times you see them. If y'all got what I'm saying so far, type of some nines. All right, next is schistostoma. Now look at what schistostoma is. Schistostoma is an infection. It's a parasitic worm. All right, now we got to talk about this parasitic worm, y'all. And I want y'all to write down these flashcards too. So you get schistostoma from your drinking water. You get schistostomas from lakes. You get schistostomas from rivers. You get schistostomas from actually underground water too, which is what you would call well water. Now, schistostoma, it actually penetrates your skin and it migrates to your liver. Notice all of these things want to migrate to the liver. So a lot of people be suffering with fatty liver disease or cirrhosis of the liver, or have gallbladder stones, or something is stopping the hepatic duct, and you don't even know you literally dealing with parasites. For instance, there's a parasite called Fasciola hepatica. I want y'all to listen to the word Fasciola, Fasciolopsis boyski, which is a hemorrhage worm, now B. See that? So it's associated with the herpes worms, but the last word of it is called hepatica. So where do it live at, Nabi? If it's called fasci, no, the hepatic duct, the hepatic duct, the bowel duct, Fasciola hepatica. It's another one called uretria. Look, uretria pancreaticum. Where do that live at? In the pancreas. So look, all y'all got to do is start studying the parasites. Start studying parasitology. Look at the last name that's closely associated with the first name. You be like, damn, this is where it's at. Then read the actual symptoms of these things. You said, hold on, that sounds like multiple sclerosis. Hold on, it lives inside the tissues, and then it brings on auto intoxication. It burns the tissues because it spits up all of its lysosomes. And now I get all of these skin disease, and then now the immune system start attacking the tissues because it's trying to attack the acids that these parasites leave behind due to auto intoxication of these parasites. They call that lupus. So then you start looking at Toxoplasma gondii. And then Toxoplasma gondii come from cats. You can get it from dogs too, but it mainly comes from cats and cat poop. And you can get it from fish as well. And it likes to burrow itself inside of the actual spinal column, just like what, y'all? The herpes worm. Instead of this time, it travels with the CS fluid, the spinal fluid, and it makes it to your brain. When it gets to your brain, it lays its eggs on the brain. But all of the actual amino acids that come from the actual larvae of these things reproducing burns legions into the brain. And then they start finding cases where they say, well, you got 3 legions on your brain, you can't walk no more because there's certain parts of your brain that deals with your mobility, and not only that, your cognitive motility. So you can't think straight, nor can you walk properly because you have these legions. And then they don't never look at the legions, how they these raised little bitty squiggly circles. And then now in China, They start going into dead people's brains, pulling these lesions out, and guess what they are, Nabi?
What?
Parasites. Rolled up parasites. Under a actual MRI, it looked like a lesion. But when you crack open the brain and you start dealing with that tissue, you dealing with solidified, calcified, putrefied parasites living in fibrous tissues on the brain. So now we have a direct connection. We can connect multiple sclerosis to toxoplasma gondii. So that's what I'm trying to show y'all. So now I have to figure out how to kill Toxoplasma gondii. And if I can kill it, then I can kill its autointoxication. And now all of a sudden my multiple sclerosis symptoms go away. Y'all get where I'm going with it? Same thing for schistosoma, which love to migrate. It goes through something called larva migration to the liver. This thing loves to lay its eggs in the liver and it sucks on your iron supply, right? It completely gets you of selenium and copper, right? These things are going to drive the blood pressure up because the kidneys and the liver is so closely associated. And this thing causes what you would call myocarditis because it messes with the blood vessels of the heart. So not only do you can get heart disease and high blood pressure, but you can get fatty liver and you can get cirrhosis of the liver from a damn parasite because all the toxins and the cycles that it go through and it auto intoxify you because you're not detoxing getting rid of the toxins because it's eating on you. But since it's eating on you, it have to defecate. It's defecating all these toxins back within your system. Your kidneys and your adrenals ain't working in the first place because if it was, when these parasites got to you, they would have left anyway because it's not a pleasant home for them. So you already living in a super acidic environment medium. So now you just a petri dish for these parasites to live inside of you because your house is not clean. So now they can just hide under anything. You ain't washed your clothes in weeks. So the parasite, I'm gonna hide in the dirty clothes hamper. You ain't swept your floor in months. Oh, I'm just gonna hide under these pieces of dust. How they love to hide under heavy metals. See that in the house analogy, I'm gonna hide under this piece of dust. You ain't cleaned out your refrigerator in so long, meaning you backed up and you can't poop. You constipated. You have a bowel movement once every 2 weeks. They love these type of petri dishes to stay in. And then you're feeding, you're auto-intoxifying yourself. You are dying off your own acidic waste. Not only is you dying off your own acidic waste, but you are dying and you're suffocating your cells off the parasite's acidic waste that it got from eating you and your acidic waste. See that? So because you intoxicated. See, intoxication is more than just drinking some liquor. Intoxication is more than just being on hallucinogens and being on drugs. Intoxication is when you can't get rid of toxins, and those same toxins go through a feedback loop and go back into the bloodstream, back into the lymphatic system, hit the kidneys, the nephrons is not working. You can't filtrate them out, so it goes back into the bloodstream, go back into the lymphatic system, go back into the kidneys, nephritis, you can't never filtrate it out. So you got this same deadly cycle until your tissues start to go through a necrotic state. Because all of these acids starts breaking down the tissues. And when the tissues break down, the acid suffocates the tissues. Mucins and calcium come in and try to buffer it out. Now you got solidification, and now you're giving birth to what you would call tumor and cyst genesis. And then that goes through something called angiogenesis, where borrow blood supply. Now you feed those areas because the body's trying to heal itself. So it's creating these trash bags and putting all the toxins and all the bull crap in there. Do y'all get the cycle we going through? And this is whether you eating healthy or not, because you can't miss the parasites. Whether you eat meat, whether you don't eat meat. Whether you fully vegan, whether you plant-based, whether you got your shoes on, whether you walk around with your shoes off, you're not going to miss the parasites because we are living organisms and parasites love living organisms. To be honest with you, if you can keep your body in a balance of homeostasis, we can actually live in a symbolic energy with most of these things, but you don't. So they have to change their roles. And when they change their roles and impose on your body, you get all these symptomologies from them. You go to your doctor, they're going to say you have a disease, and they will never say, how about you just do a parasitic cleanse? Get rid of the parasites, get rid of the symptoms, get rid of the so-called disease. I'm just saying. Y'all get what I'm saying so far, typing some nines. I'm just saying. Then we're talking crazy.
What is it? What is it? We number one target.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah, we the number one target for everybody. Look, I want y'all to really think about it too. We the number one target for everybody. Think about it. We think that we at the top of the food chain. Now being we not. We not. We getting ate on by dust mites. Y'all just seen the video I dropped on that. They eat your skin. Parasites. They connect with your nervous system. Amoebas. They connect and eat all of the gut flora. Other different types of parasites. They feed and eat off your tissues. Certain parasites like hookworms and threadworms, they thread in you and suck all of your nutrients. You got a parasite that only wants your oxygen, y'all. There is a specific parasite called trematoda. Trematoa. It wants your oxygen. Hey man, Earth is truly ghetto, boy. You be like, y'all, why did you even put? What is the point of me being there? Like, I can honestly see why some people just be like, man, look, hell, I'm just gonna live my life. But me, I'm just such a stickler for knowledge and trying to elevate my conscience and trying to live the best possible version of me possible. I'm always fighting everything. I'm at war with everything. I'm at war with pollutants. I'm at war with chemtrails, comtrails. I'm at war with the parasites. I'm at war with anything that is not conducive for me thriving in this environment while I'm here. That's just what it is.
Mm.
All right, so let me show y'all this real quick. All right, here go another fresh water. Now check this one out, y'all. All right, so this is an actual worm that rides around in fish, and people love to eat fish. Look, more than 90% of the popular freshwater game fish in Southern California is contaminated and introduced to a parasite capable of infecting humans. I just look. So that they saying 90% of the fish, 90% y'all of the fish that's in these waters are introduced to parasites that go through something called zoonotic. You see that? Zoonotic contagion. Do y'all know what zoonotic means? When you look up the word zoonotic, it means an actual disease that a parasite can give a human, and I mean that an animal can give a human, and the animal in this case is a water fish, or the human can actually give an animal. I was reading an article where it was this Caucasian couple, they gave their dogs worms. I'm not bullcrapping. I said, how in the hell is that possible? They gave they dogs worms. And the dogs gave them a different type of worm. And that's why I do not recommend you having dogs or cats in your house. I tell everybody that. Dogs and cats are supposed to be outside the house. Y'all want all these pets inside. You got the pet sleeping with you. You got the pet on your couch. You got the pet licking your children. And then you wonder why all of these deadly parasites are inside of our bodies and we getting all these symptomologies. Not only that, they hair and they fur alone will raise your basal fields. They hair and they fur alone because it gets all in the vents, it gets in the hair, it gets in your covers, it gets everywhere. And since it's foreign to your body, you sniffing these particles in is going to cause an allergic reaction. And all allergic reaction is an immune response. It's a lymphatic response, family. Keep your pets outside. And they be like, well, I got a $5,000 Pomeranian. It was created and genetically this, and what they call it's hypogenic, and it's yeah, whatever. If it's living and breathing and it's not human, keep it out of your household. Straight up. All right, so now we're talking about schistosoma. Remember, schistosoma causes vasculovenous plexus. It sticks itself in the vasculovenous plexus, and this basically is in the uterine lining. Let me show y'all what they look like. And this is why schistosoma is one of the number one drivers to reproductive cancer in men and women. Let me show y'all this. So the vasculovenous plexus is right here with this little markers at. And this is where schistosoma love to lay its eggs at. See that? The vesico-venous plexus. I'll call it the vesicle. That sounds better. Vesico-venous plexus. And notice right here, you got a prostate right up under there. You got the bladder right up under there. It's close to the anus and the rectum and the sigmoid colon. And it literally sticks itself in visceral fat and hides out there. And that's where schistosoma love to be at. It love to be in the liver. It love to be in the bladder. It love to be in the reproductive organs. And that's why all of these reproductive cancers are always associated with schistostoma. Yeah, I know, man. Hey, man, look. What else we got? It's another one. Protozoa. Protozoa is a crazy one, y'all. Protozoa is a crazy one. Let me do protozoa. Now, protozoa is you can get it from water, food. You can even get it from person to person. Protozoa acts very much like humans too. And protozoa literally needs humans to feed off their nutrients. Without humans or without like cows and things like that, it can't eat at all. At least these other parasites can get a lot of their foods from the soil. Protozoa is literally depending on humans and depending on mammals and living organisms to cipher all of. They are straight vampirists. They need your blood to get all of your nutrients. So when you look at most people that is very low in magnesium, potassium, and selenium, and their blood pressure go high, usually they have a protozoa parasite. And you can get there, and it's called protozoa phagulates. And protozoa phagulates, and the reason why they call it a phagulates or phagulants because it got this long little tail that it sticks out into the bloodstream and it ciphers sucks everything in. Let me show you a picture of this little nasty thing. Hold on. And I'm gonna show you how to kill these too. Where's protozoa at? That it? Boom, look at it. So y'all see this protozoa phagulates? Now look at the tail on it. Y'all see that tail hanging from his butt? It actually eats through his behind. Ain't that crazy? That sounds crazy as hell, don't it? It eats through his bottom. It eats through his behind, and it uses little tail, and it literally siphons and suck up all of your nutrients. Now, the reason why this one causes hypertension is because it loves its main thing is magnesium. Whenever you looking whenever you looking at magnesium deficiency, that means that what magnesium does is magnesium it dilates the vascular walls, it dilates the arteries, and it allows blood to flow through the veins and the arteries properly. What calcium does is constrict the vessels. So magnesium dilates the vessels for your blood can flow properly. Calcium constrict the vessels. And when you have magnesium, calcium working in synergy with each other, this is what creates the heartbeat. You see that? The contraction. You see that? The dilation. The contraction, the dilation. And that's that pendulum swing. That's that wave that we're talking about. And then when you start, so it ciphers off magnesium and then potassium. Potassium is a mineral that's in control of balancing what you would call sodium and water ratio of a cell. And you know if your sodium is too high, what that do? That raises your blood pressure. So we got something that's taking away magnesium, which is going to automatically leave calcium there to constrict and not dilate. That's going to raise your oncotic and peripheral pressure. Then we got something ciphering off all of your potassium, which is going to leave more sodium than water. That's going to automatically do what? Raise your oncotic peripheral pressure. And another thing that this thing loves to siphon off is glutathione. And glutathione needs sulfur. Selenium. So if it's messing with your glutathione proposition, then that means it is ciphering off your selenium as well. And you can tell if you have this parasite, all you gotta do is check the middle of your head or check around your edges. If you start missing hair and your nails start getting brittle and you start getting a lot of lower gut pains, if you start feeling lower back pains around your kidneys, you see that? These are the first signs of this protozoa. And this protozoa is literally a nutrient deficient bug. All it wants to do is feed off of all your nutrients. You see that? Show y'all some more of this. I bet they're like, what in the hell y'all keep on today? Now, look at these little things, y'all. These are flatworms. These are real pictures. Look how they look. Look at them. That's a flatworm. All right, so we went over trichinilia, we went over schistostoma, we went over protozoa. Now let's talk about strongyloides. Strongyloides is another parasitic. See if I can pull up strongyloides. Uh, so far we seen ones that cause multiple sclerosis. We seen ones that causes lupus. We seen ones that causes high blood pressure, and we cannot forget about the diabetes, which is the pancreaticum fluke worm. See if I can pull up an article real quick. Yeah, this stuff is crazy when you start really thinking about it. Now, be pancreatic fluke worm. Yeah, I'm gonna answer some of y'all questions. Watch this, y'all. Let me just Google this. Look, check out this deal right here. Look at this, y'all. So this deal is called Erythrema pancreaticum. You see that? Erythrema pancreaticum in the pancreas. You see that? Now, Erythrema pancreaticum is a parasite. You see that? And it stays inside of the pancreatic and the bile ducts. See that? It often, it also occasionally affects humans. In spite of being common flukes in cattle and in sheep in endemic regions. Look at that. And literally what it does when it's inside of the pancreas is it interferes in all of the auto intoxication, messes with the alpha cells and the beta cells. And again, we know that the alpha cells produces glycogen. This is what rises and brings your sugar up. We know that the beta cells inside the pancreas and the islands of Langerhans actually produces insulin, which act as a key mechanism to unlock the cell to let glucose in for you can get ATP, or what you'll call adenosine triphosphate. So even diabetes mellitus, even diabetes hypoglycemia come from stroloides, where it literally eats all of your glycogen, and you just keep producing insulin, and you become so insulin sensitive that your sugars get used up super fast, so it gives you diabetes, but it gives you diabetes in a hypoglycemic way. What I'm trying to say, y'all, is every single disease that you think is a disease is driven by a damn parasite, y'all. I'm look, I got so much stuff here. It is crazy. Lupus, LES, roundworms, mineral deficiency, zinc, selenium, copper, silica. I mean, we can keep going. Ulcers, of course, we know where ulcers come from. Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori. H. pylori and Helicobacter pylori is one of the number one parasites that drives stomach cancer, that drives duodenal cancer, that drives colon cancer. This is a parasite, but it's completely fine when it's in the pyloric sphincter. That's where you get H. pylori or Helicobacter pylori from. It actually helps you siphon and bring cobalt in. But the moment you move it due to acidic terrain or you have low stomach acid, what it does, it comes to help you out and create too much acid. Now you got ulcers everywhere, and then you end up with either esophageal cancer, with stomach cancer, or large intestinal cancer. But what we dealing with though? We're dealing with a parasite. A parasite. Look, heart disease, tryplasmal, cruzi, trichonellia, fluke worms, cholesterol blocking, causes osteoporosis, sclerosis. I mean, we can go on for days. Look, even Ferrarellis causes arthritis. They have literally checked the joints, flushed the joints out, get inside the joints, and guess what they find when they look at under an electronic microscope? These little microscopic parasites causing damn arthritis. So it's like, what disease can we name that's not associated with these living entities? Is all disease caused by these entities, or did you throw off your equilibrium of the body, and then now you allow these things to come in, and now they can stay and you can't get them out because your immune system low, your lymphatic system is not working properly, your kidneys are down so you can't filtrate nothing out. You see that? Your liver is all clogged up so you can't produce the biggest detoxification molecule, which is glutathione peroxidase. Your endocrine system is all messed up, so you're not producing the highest antioxidant molecule in the body, or in the earth, should I say, or in the cosmos, which is melatonin. So when you really start thinking about it, our defenses is so down and so low. When we catch these things, our bodies can't even fight them off. Can't even fight them off. So what you need to be doing is every 90 days, you need to be doing at least a 4 to 12 day parasite cleanse. That's what you need to do. The best thing you can do is go to my website, look up my parasite elimination kit, jot down all of those herbs, and start taking them every 90 days. It will change your life. Half of the stuff that you're going through, you won't be going through. We look at so much blood a week, y'all. We see so many Ascariot parasites. We see so many primitive bacteria form pathologies under the microscope. We see microscopic parasites all the time, y'all. And it be blowing my mind because we got big ones, we got long ones, and I be like, this is from a drop of blood. If this one drop of blood, which is 2 million cells, got thousands of parasites in them, whether we talking about microsomas, whether we talking about protids, whether we talking about ascarids, whether we talking about any of these different amoebas, whether we talking about mucus, whether we talking about whether we talking about what you would call gout, uric acid built up. They hiding behind uric acid. What we talking about? Uric acid crystals. And look, let's not even talk about what you will call the glycocalyx and what you will call glycation, all of the sugars being left over in the system because insulin and the hormones is being so damaged by the parasites that it's just causing all this sugar to stay into the blood and literally glycate the vessels. And then calcium got to come in, then cholesterol got to come in. Now all of a sudden you have the blocking, or you have these crystals forming inside the arteries, tearing the tissues. Look, that's heart attack, that's stroke. All this is coming from parasites, though. I don't know, it's mind blowing to me. Maybe I'm the only. Well, I ain't looking at the count. I'm the only one. Am I the only one mind blown off this? Am I the only one mind blown by all this, man? Man, we got to do something about this. So yes, 4 to 12 days. So, and I just want to jump on here and just, this is stuff that we going over this Shabbat day, or this Yom Shabbat, or what you would call Saturday in Atlanta at Clark University. We're gonna go deep into this. We're gonna go deep into the diet, deep into the schedule, and how to get rid of these things. But I did want to give y'all a sneak peek, and I couldn't show y'all everything, so I literally wrote notes of what I was gonna show y'all because people did pay to be there. But look, y'all, I'm gonna just say these three herbs again: wormwood, fresh cloves, and green walnut hull. And you can use cinnamon to draw them out. And make sure that you're using activated charcoal, or you're using some type of clay to be a binder. That way you don't have a strong die off. And the toxins, when they reach the bloodstream, you won't feel like you dying. Always take them with a binder. Take them as teas. This is what I would do. I would take the wormwood, I would take that as an actual tea. I would do the cloves. I would get fresh clove powder. I would do fresh clove powder. I would do 1,000 milligrams, and I take three of those a day. Three of those a day. And then and I do the tea twice a day, in the rising and right before I go to bed. And then for the green walnut hull, if you grow green walnut hulls, get them from your trees, crush them up, put them in some alcohol, or put them in some glycerin, and make your own tinctures, or yeah, make your own tinctures from them. If not, find somebody that sell them, and you gonna take a tincture, and you gonna literally take a whole peptide full of, you're gonna take a whole pipette of those 3 times a day, in the rising, in the evening, and before you go to bed. You are gonna poop out so many worms, it will blow your mind, and it won't kill your liver, and it won't stress your kidneys like ivermectin do. Because ivermectin, yes, do it gets rid of cancer? I've been seeing a lot of promising cases, I can't lie. Do it kill parasites? I've never seen a drug kill parasites like no other. But the actual side effects is just not worth it. The side effects from ivermectin and from all of these different animal dewormers is really messing up people's kidneys. They ALTs, they ASTs is going through the roof. They liver enzymes is going through the roof after they've been on it a month. And then it's starting to mess with people's kidneys too. So there's a very, very big wave of everybody using these drugs. But within the next year or two, we're going to see a bunch of lawsuits coming out from these things, because a lot of people livers and kidneys are going to start shutting down because of it. When Yahweh created these natural remedies that's in nature that you can go pick yourself. You see what I'm saying? And I do not want y'all to sleep on cat's claw, y'all. Do not sleep on cat's claw. Cat's claw is one of the most powerful herbs that, in neem leaf and cat's claw, or some other ones that will wipe parasites. And y'all can mix these in equal parts with y'all wormwood and take it as a tea. Now the thing with cat's claw, though, cat's claw will have you itching out of this world. Oh, check this out, family. Now look, I wanted to get this, what I wanted to really talk about. I wanted to talk about uh which one I wanted to talk about. It ain't Pasciola. It ain't that. We already went over your Trima. Where is it at, man? We already went up We already went over that one. Hold on, y'all. It's one I do not want to leave out, man. This thing is funny as hell. Maybe it was in my dreams or something, Nabi, because I can't find it in none of my notes.
You got a lot of notes though. Did you get them all?
Man, I was just writing down stuff. As soon as it came to my mind, I just wrote it down. Where is that parasite at? Man, the parasite to make your asshole itch.
Oh yeah,
What is that?
About that not too long ago.
Where's that
Yeah,
parasite?
we talking about that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta find that one. Man, it's a parasite,
Yeah,
y'all.
you told me and I'm bound about
Yeah,
that.
it's a parasite that gets inside of you from eating fruit and eating vegetables and leave its larvae on the fruits and vegetables and some meat. But it get in you and it jumps on the bandwagon, gets in the bloodstream, and guess where this thing want to hang out at? It want to hang out around your anus. I don't know why it's there. I don't know why it want to be there, and it give people a itchy anus. And a lot of people, a lot of children that's still wiping their butts in a butt itch or they anus or they butthole itch, it's because of this parasite. And you can't get rid of it because the legs on it is very sticky and they go the opposite of your flesh. So when you try to poop them out, since they legs are going opposite of what you pushing, it literally drives them deeper into the rounding part of your rectum and your anus, and it causes your butt to itch all day. So if you walking around, you see somebody digging in their booty, they might got this. Man, what's the name of it?
Yeah, I thought John.
Say it, not be. Maybe it'll pop up
Was
in
it
my head.
John?
I don't know, man. That thing,
But you told us yesterday.
man, that thing is crazy,
You
man.
told us yesterday about that.
Man, where is that thing at? Anyways, I can't find it, but I know I wrote it down somewhere yesterday. My first time hearing about it was yesterday, and I've been studying parasitology for like 11 years, y'all, and I never heard of that one till yesterday, and it's been around on record since 1946. Since 1946, y'all. Yes, them pinworms is crazy. Pinworms, hookworms, threadworms, fluke worms, flatworms, roundworms, tapeworms. You got so many of them, and it is hard. It is impossible to kill them all. So you have to make sure that you're doing parasite detoxifications. I'm gonna see y'all this Shabbat Yom Shabbat. Can't wait. We're gonna be at Clark University this Saturday. We're gonna open the doors for VIP at at 12 noon. We open the doors for the regular general admissions around 1:30. VIP will be able to come grab herbs first, grab your food, everything, man. We finna have an amazing time. We going over parasites, we going over pleomorphism, we going over everything, disease rates. We're gonna talk about the disease rates in Atlanta, down south, period. We also going to be going over the daily schedule, how to get rid of these things. We got Courtney Bell coming out, and we got our brother AJ McQueen gonna be performing, and we finna have a good time. Hopefully the vegan food trucks will be there. Look, we working on a lot of things, so it ain't no hopefully. We gonna have an amazing, great time in Atlanta, and that's this weekend, y'all. And then the following day is the pop up clinic where I'm going to be doing consultations, and that's gonna be at the New Soul Vegan, New Soul Veg. You know what I'm saying? And we just gonna have amazing time. So I'm gonna see y'all Saturday, and I'm gonna see a lot of y'all Sunday, but not all of y'all. Y'all got any questions for me?
Come to South Florida, please.
We gonna come to South Florida. We gonna come to South Florida. Our next spot after Atlanta is what, Nabi?
Philly.
Philly. So we're gonna be in Philly next. We're gonna be in Philly next. We're gonna be in the Bay Area in December. Yeah. December, we're gonna be in the Bay Area.
December 21st.
December the 21st. Sound like the winter solstice. Yeah. If I come to Philly, you might as well just take that drive from Baltimore now.
We don't come to Detroit.
We just look, whoever said when we come to Detroit, you a day late, the dollar short. We come to Detroit every year.
Where?
Yes, we going to Sacramento. All right, y'all. I'm finna jump off here. I see I ain't had no questions. Look, I love y'all. I just want to jump on here and talk to y'all for a minute. I did say a bunch of crazy stuff, so I'm not keeping this video up, but we will upload it to Yahki TV. But I did say parasite cause cancer, and that is a violation of YouTube and of Facebook. I just literally got my Facebook page back. How long was it down?
About 2 weeks, 3
It was
weeks.
down 3 weeks, my Facebook business page. So I ain't gonna even post this, y'all. I just want to get on here and chop it up with y'all. But it's just certain stuff that trigger them, and they don't like the way I talk. So I will not be keeping this up. I keep it up for an hour. Y'all better save it and screen record it or something. But I'm taking it down to an hour, and I'm gonna upload it to Yahki TV, Yahki TV, Yahki Radio, Yahki Apparel. All this will be out late November, y'all. We working on it on all of it now. The book. The book right now, it is still in editing processes. Everything is done on my end. Am I lying, I be?
No.
The editor got the book. We just had to change some things up. That's it. I told y'all about that last time. We still shooting for November, December to get it out. It only take them a few months to print it. Our whole issue on the book is the editing. I did my part. I'm just waiting on the editor, y'all. And she and he is working fast as possible to get it done. But I did want it the right way. It was a few things in there where it got edited. It didn't sound like me. And I'm like, nah, I don't even talk like that. It completely changed up my words in this area. Let's change it back to that. And then just making the book flow. I've been working on this book for 5 years, y'all. So you can tell where I didn't know what I knew in the book, and you can tell where I just left school in the book. Like it's some part the book's so schizophrenic, to be honest with you, because it's certain it's dope, but you can really the book shows you my journey. You can tell where I knew of some stuff, and then you can tell where like, dang, okay, he experiencing this stuff now. And then you can tell where I was just like, really, I was bragging a little bit. So, her problem was she was like, well, the book is not consistent. And I said, well, I didn't make the book consistent. And that's the reason why in the book I tell you how, yeah, it's not meant to be read in chronological order. And I said that. I said, that's why in the book I said this book is not meant to be read in chronological order. This is how you read the book. You don't read the book, you study it. The first thing you do is go to your disease that your so-called disease that you're dealing with. Once you read up on your so-called disease, immediately go to Yahki daily schedule. Then once you get on the schedule and get on the herbs and you get on your daily routine on whatever I put you on in the book, then go back to the beginning and then you read it. And she was like, it seemed problematic. We did a vote. Everybody else said it was problematic. So I just had to change a few things up. But the book is amazing. A lot of y'all, thousands of y'all got the first 350 pages. We got a bunch of good feedback from it. Just be patient, y'all. I promise y'all it will be out within a few months. We've been working on it hard. Again, I'm done with my end. The book is done. It's in the editor's hand, and they only take a couple weeks to print them out. We already got our printers a couple months, but a couple weeks to print them. A couple weeks to print them. So yeah, y'all got any questions for me? Hit me up. If y'all want some free tickets, I think I got like 20 tickets left.
Yep.
I got 20 free tickets left. Hit me up in my DMs. Hit me up in my inboxes. I'll give y'all that, and I'll see y'all in Atlanta. Peace, love, light, and healing. Shalom l'cha. Chag Samet Sukkot. Happy Feast of Tabernacle. I'll check in with y'all later. Peace of the gods, peace of the earth. Shalom, shalom. Yeah, I'm not keeping this, y'all.